I turned 83 not long ago, and the strange thing about reaching this age is the quiet assumption that you have already seen everything worth seeing. People look at a man of my years and see a closed book, a story where the plot has reached its final pages, and the ink has begun to fade. They treat your perspective like an old photograph, static, predictable, and fixed in time. They imagine that by now the world must have lost its ability to startle you, as if the heart eventually builds up a callus against the spectacular. But that is not how it feels from inside this body. If anything, the older I get, the more the world surprises me, not with the grand moments or the dramatic scenes of my youth, but with something far more profound. Something I lacked the patience to appreciate when my blood was fast and my ego was larger. It is a sense of awe, not the kind that shouts or demands a stage, but the kind that whispers. It is the kind of awe that does not need to be monumental to be meaningful. When I was younger, I operated under a great misunderstanding. I thought awe was a currency you earned through achievement. I thought it lived exclusively in the shadows of great mountains, in the marble of monuments, or in those rare, lightning strike moments of success that you recount at dinner tables. I chased it like a trophy, convinced it was something that existed out there, somewhere, waiting for me to be successful enough or traveled enough to reach it. I believed it was a destination rather than a lens. But now, at 83, I see that I was looking right over its head. Awe shows up everywhere now. It is in the ordinary mornings. It is in the agonizing slowness of a world that is no longer in a hurry to impress me. It is in the minute details I used to rush past because I thought I was going somewhere important. I didn't know back then that awe can sit quietly beside you, like a guest you never invited, but desperately needed. A few months ago, I was sitting on my back porch before the sun came up. It was early enough that the streetlights were still humming, and the air had that sharp, biting coldness that wakes your bones long before your mind catches up. I was holding a ceramic mug that was a bit too warm for my papery hands, and the rising steam kept fogging my glasses. I sat there in the silence, feeling the weight of my years, and then I watched the sky change. It wasn't a spectacular sunrise. There were no streaks of neon pink or dramatic oranges that would make someone stop their car to take a photo. It was subtle, a gradual thinning of the darkness, a slow realization of light. It was the blue of the night turning into a slightly softer blue, like the world was slowly remembering it existed. And something happened inside me, a physical shift. I felt awe. It wasn't the adrenaline-fueled awe of my 30s. It was the awe that comes from finally being awake to something that has always been there. It was the realization that the world recreates itself every single morning, whether I am there to applaud it or not. When you are young, awe feels like fuel. It is an engine that pushes you toward a horizon you haven't reached yet. But when you are 83, awe feels like a companion. It is something that sits with you in the present moment and tells you that where you are is enough. It is strange and beautiful how the same feeling changes shape over the course of a lifetime. I spent so much of my middle years rushing. I rushed through meals as if the act of eating was merely a hurdle to get back to work. I rushed through conversations, waiting for my turn to speak rather than listening to the person in front of me. I rushed through days that I categorized as unremarkable, waiting for the big days to arrive. I think back now and realize I rushed through years of my children's lives, always operating under the grand illusion that there would be more time later, that I was just in the busy phase, and the noticing phase would come once the bills were paid. I remember one evening with a clarity that still stings, a memory I carry not for its beauty, but for its missed opportunity. I had come home from work, heavy with exhaustion, irritable, nursing some minor professional disappointment that I had inflated into a mountain. My daughter, barely 8 years old, was sitting at the kitchen table with her tongue poked out in concentration, lost in a box of dull crayons. When she saw me, her face lit up with that unearned radiance only children possess. She held up a drawing, a chaotic, vibrant swirl of green and yellow, and told me she had made it just for me. I barely glanced at it. I muttered a distracted, "That's nice, honey," and walked straight to my bedroom to lie down in the dark. I didn't understand then that she was offering me a doorway into her soul. She was showing me a moment of pure awe, the miracle of a child inventing beauty on a piece of scrap paper. I walked past it because I was too busy being important, too occupied with the trivialities of a career that is now just a collection of dusty files. Age doesn't grant wisdom automatically. I have met plenty of old fools, and I have been one myself, more often than not. Age simply provides a longer, clearer view of the wreckage of our own distractions. It allows you to see the moments where you were physically present but spiritually absent. And yet, I am learning to forgive that younger version of myself. Perhaps awe isn't just about witnessing beauty. It is the grace that teaches us to try again. It is the quiet voice that tells us to pay attention now, while the light is still hitting the floor, before the sun finishes its transit across the room. I felt this recently in the most mundane of settings, the grocery store. I was moving with that agonizing deliberation common to 83, fumbling with my wallet, when I noticed the young woman at the register. She looked hollowed out, her eyes fixed on the scanner with a mechanical dullness. You reach a certain age where you can detect a person's struggle simply by the rhythm of their breathing, by the way they hold their shoulders against the world. She greeted me with a scripted politeness, but her spirit was clearly miles away, perhaps fighting a battle I couldn't see. I stopped looking at my change and looked at her. I asked, "Are you all right?" I didn't say it as a social courtesy. I asked it as one traveler to another. She froze for a moment, her hand hovering over a carton of milk. Then the dam broke, just a little. She told me her father was sick, that she was working double shifts to help her mother with the rent, and that she was simply scared. In that moment, on aisle 4, under the hum of the cooling fans, the world slowed down. I told her that her strength was admirable, that her quiet effort mattered, even if no one was applauding it. For a brief second, her eyes cleared, and she looked at me, not as a customer, but as a human being. We recognize each other. That is the awe of connection, the realization that the world can still feel sacred even under fluorescent lights. I've lived through wars that reshaped maps, recessions that emptied pockets, and the sharp, specific grief of things left unsaid to those now gone. I've watched the world become louder, faster, and increasingly more impatient. But through all that noise, awe has never truly left. It just went into hiding, It waits for us to stop trying to conquer life and start trying to witness it. I once believed success was measured by the height of what I could build. Now, I know it is measured by the depth of what I can notice. I feel a profound grief for the man I was 40 years ago, rushing toward a big break that wasn't nearly as important as the wind moving through the oak trees in his own backyard. We cannot fix the past, but that is the true function of aging. We get to move forward with better eyes. We get to use the time we have left to honor the beauty we once ignored. At 83, I no longer make 5-year plans. I make 5-minute plans. My only remaining goal is to leave this world astonished rather than bitter. I want to close my eyes for the last time, knowing I never stopped being moved by the improbable, miraculous gift of being here at all. So if you take anything from an old man's voice, let it be this: let yourself be amazed again. Stop rushing toward a future that is always receding. Look longer. Breathe slower. Notice the things you used to step over. Awe is not a destination you find in a far-off land. It is a state of being you allow when you finally stop trying to be the center of the universe. If the world can still surprise me after 83 years of loss, it can surely surprise you too. You just have to be willing to see it.